So I want to double back for a second. When you were given those first 10 or 11 characters, right? They were pretty generic Green Army men, with a couple rare exceptions, like Snake Eyes all in black. Let's do Grunt and Snake Eyes. So for the most part, they were
Snake
just...
Eyes was a money-saving thing because, like, you know, it was just one color. No paint.
They would cost average is what they call it, the figures, right? So if they had this whole batch of 11 and they decided not to do any paint apps on one of them, then it would bring the cost down to where they needed it to be to price it, I believe, under $2. I think they were $1.99 or something. So I want you to talk for a second about how do you turn kind of generic Green Army men into memorable characters?
It's all about characterization, and the thing about characterization is consistency. You know, it's one thing to come up with a unique character, but the problem you get when like you get like 5 different writers or whatever, and everybody gives their own interpretation, and the characters tend to vacillate. You know, everybody's got a very different take on a character, unless, you know, there's probably a dozen characters in comics that I can think of that are like, you know, variation proof, that they're so there that, you know, nobody can really mess them up. I think, you know, Wolverine is one of them, you know. Thor, I think, is pretty close to that too. And Superman and Batman, of course. But having that many characters to start with was daunting. So I thought, well, that's why I did the file cards. So I could keep track of it myself. But the other thing that I did was to basically base the core of the characters on people I knew. You know, if I based a character on my cousin Randy, you know, I knew how he would react to something, or what he wouldn't say, or how, you know, how he would behave in a given situation. You know, I mean, he was a lineman for the Pacific Gas and Electric for like 30 years, and he spent 30 years climbing up and down poles. He drove a pickup with a shotgun rack on it and had a bass boat, you know. So I had him pegged, you know. I knew what he was like. I knew who most of these people were, you know. And that was a way to keep it consistent.